Jill and the Beanstalk. Jack climbed a hill with his sister Jill. Jack fell down and now he's ill. There's nothing to eat, they're feeling sad. If only the giant hadn't swallowed their dad. Mum asked Jill, "Do you think somehow you could raise money selling our cow?" Jill had barely walked a mile when she met a man beside a stile. "Swap you these beans for that cow," he said. "Beans?" cried Jill. "Are you off your head?" The man explained, "These are magic beans. They bring you gifts you've never seen." Jill took them home to show her mum, who cried out loud, "I should have sent my son." She threw the beans down at Jill's feet and sent her to bed with nothing to eat. Early to bed, early to rise, Jill woke up at dawn with a mighty surprise. A beanstalk had grown right up to the skies. Catching hold of the stalk, clinging fast to the leaves, she climbed the great plant as it swayed in the breeze. Jill heard a shout. It was her mother. "Come down at once, look after your brother." But Jill just kept on climbing. She didn't stop. All the way upwards, right to the top. She leapt off the beanstalk and heard a loud weep. A little girl cried, "Oh, where are my sheep? They've wandered away while I was asleep." "Where am I?" asked Jill. "You're in the land where the giant lives. Did you come to avenge or come to forgive? With a wave of my crook, now choose your fate. Back down the beanstalk or onto the giant's gate." Jill stood in front of the giant's house, feeling tiny and scared like a quivering mouse. A strange old woman was standing by, brushing cobwebs out of the sky. "Little girl, why are you here? Why, oh why?" As she spoke, the ground began to shake, with a deafening sound like a mighty earthquake. The woman said, "Quick, run inside. There's only one place, in the oven you'll hide. Take barely one breath, don't utter a sigh. Stay silent as snow if you don't want to die." Jill crouched in the oven. What had she done? How she wished she were home with her mum. The giant spoke, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an earthly man." "Husband, you smell only the birds I baked in a pie. All 24 dropped out of the sky." The giant bawled, "I have no wish to even try your dainty dish. Wife, I need to eat. Go to the kitchen and fetch me my meat." From a gap in the oven door, Jill watched the giant devour a wild boar. The giant sat back. He wasn't happy. He bellowed, "Get me my goose, and make it snappy." Saying, "Goose, deliver," he closed his eyes. It lay a bright golden egg, much to Jill's surprise. The giant had a lot of fun, counting solid gold eggs one by one. Then he fell asleep and started to snore, sounding just like a mighty lion's roar. Jill knew she could escape while the giant slept, so carefully out of the oven she crept. Then she remembered what her friend Tom had done. Stole a pig and away he'd run. Grabbing the goose, she ran and ran. "I must get to that beanstalk as fast as I can." She slid down the stalk, shouting, "I'm back!" And out of the house came Mother and Jack. "We've been worried sick, your brother and I. How could you climb that great stalk to the sky?" "But Mum," Jill said, "I came to no harm. And look what I have under my arm." "Goose, deliver." Jill repeated the words that the giant had said, and the goose instantly laid a bright golden egg. Jill's visit to the giant's lair kept her family from hunger and despair. Jack couldn't help feeling envious of his sister Jill. He wished he'd climbed a beanstalk instead of a hill. Jack boasted a lot and often said if he'd met the giant, he would have chopped off his head. Their mother had warned them not to climb that stalk, but Jill was fed up with Jack's idle talk. One day, in clever disguise, Jill climbed up the beanstalk and reached the skies. The old woman sat by the gate looking sad. The evil giant treated her bad, very bad. He'd become more gruesome by the day since his goose had been stolen away. The giant's wife didn't recognize Jill, but she heard the sound of thundering footsteps coming down the hill. "The giant!" she cried. "If he smells your blood now, he's sure to kill." Hickory dickory dock, quick go hide in the clock. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an earthly man. Let him be alive, or let him be dead, I'll chop off his head, the giant said. You smell only my freshly baked tarts. I borrowed a recipe from the Queen of Hearts. I'm a giant, wife, I need to eat. Go to the kitchen and get me my meat. The giant gorged on beast as before. 1 full hour passed by, then he called for more. His wife brought in a harp, the most magnificent of things, made out of pure gold with 100 strings. The giant yelled, "Play!" He was feeling bored. The harp instantly played of its own accord. A lullaby, so calm and sweet, the lumbering giant fell fast asleep. Jill wanted the harp that played without touch. She wanted it so very much. Out of the clock she nervously crept and grabbed the harp of gold while the giant slept. To the beanstalk Jill was bound, tripping over a dog, running round and round. When the harp cried out, "Master, master!" the giant awoke, got up and ran after. Jill knew she would have to run faster and faster. The giant howled, "So you think you can run? Look what happened to Tom the piper's son." Holding on to the harp, Jill ran and ran. "I must get to that beanstalk as fast as I can." She slid down the stalk. The harp cried, "Master!" The great ugly giant came thundering after. Jill grabbed the axe for cutting wood and hacked down the beanstalk as fast as she could. Each giant step caused the stalk to rumble. Jill's hack of the axe caused the giant to tumble. Down, down the giant plunged. Jack, Jill and Mum watched in wonder as the giant crashed 10 feet under. Jack, Jill and their mother now spend their days singing songs and rhymes that the golden harp plays.